This is the YouTube edition of my book, A Course in Miracles Workbook Nuggets, which is a study aid for the course's workbook for students. I'll begin by reading my book's commentary on today's lesson over a visual of the book's text. I'll then return with some further thoughts on the lesson, which are only included in this YouTube edition of my book. Today's lesson is part of a 10-lesson group that runs from lesson 331 through lesson 340, each of which relates to the ego as understood in the course. I'll be repeating this same introduction for each of lessons 331 through 340, so you can skip past this introduction in the future if you like. Timestamps taking you directly to today's Workbook Nuggets commentary and my further comments are provided in the description below. In the course, the ego is our belief that we are separate and limited bodies with independent minds and wills. The ego is not a real entity, but an illusory, mistaken identity that we believe to be us. The introduction, which precedes these 10 lessons, tells us that, quote, "To know reality is not to see the ego," end quote. Today's lesson from my book and my further thoughts, which are only contained in this YouTube edition of the book, follow. A link to the book on Amazon.com is provided below. Lesson number 340, December 6. I can be free of suffering today. The title of the lesson is I can be free of suffering today. Emphasis mine. The prayer tells us how this is accomplished. Quote, "For he, you, will hear your, God's, voice directing him, you, to find Christ's vision through forgiveness." End quote. So, the answer, the key, is finding Christ's vision through forgiveness. I doubt that any of us will fully accomplish this today, but the point is that it is possible. It is possible, and the Course is guiding us step by step. The title of today's lesson is I Can Be Free of Suffering Today. When and how is this to occur? The first paragraph of the lesson tells us the exact moment. It is when we, as God's child, hear the voice of God directing us to find Christ's vision through forgiveness. Finding Christ's vision through forgiveness is what the entire workbook is about. That is the workbook's purpose. That is why we study it. The purpose of the course is to teach you to see beyond the illusion, to see with the eyes of Christ. When you do, you are free from all suffering because love, or at worst a call for love, is all you see.